This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your weekend. We also have your boredom busters coming up, but first, our top story. The federal trial involving allegations of racism against a Rapid City hotel has come to a close. The activist group NDN Collective sued the Retzel Corporation over comments made by one of the owners of the hotel group, who has since died. NDN says people were told they could not stay at the hotel because of their race, but attorneys for the hotel deny the claims, saying the owner turned customers away because of threats. The jury began deliberating Friday. An overnight post by NDN Collective says the jury ruled in their favor by awarding them $1 in damages, an amount the group had requested. NDN said this case was never about money for NDN Collective. No amount of money will fix racism or make NDN Collective and the people we stand for whole. You can read the full statement by going to this story here on KELOLAND.com. The South Dakota Attorney General's office announced Friday that 2 people have been indicted in a drug overdose case at the state penitentiary. 25-year-old Natalie Kraus was a medical aide at the prison, and 26-year-old Cole Waters is an inmate serving time for first-degree manslaughter. Kraus and Waters are accused of distributing synthetic marijuana to inmate Travis Longfox, ultimately resulting in his death.
Waters, because he's an inmate and there's a doubling on the chart on the ultimate maximum sentences, is facing 170 years, and Kraus, the nurse, is facing 75 years. So it's a very significant.
Jack Lee also confirmed that Kraus did have a personal relationship with the deceased inmate. The mother of a man convicted of killing 3 people faces charges in connection with her son's crimes. Hayden Hall is serving 50 years in prison for a deadly crash in December of 2023. He was high on cocaine and speeding when he crashed his pickup near Beersford. He left the truck, stole a vehicle, went home, and leaving his 3 passengers to die of their injuries. He later pleaded guilty to manslaughter. This week, a Union County grand jury indicted his mother. 60-year-old Kathy Hall is charged with being an accessory to vehicular homicide and misprison of a felony. She faces 3 counts of each charge, 1 for each of the victims. A crash along Interstate 90 left 1 person injured and cattle on the loose in Meade County. Authorities say it happened when the driver of a semi swerved to avoid an SUV and ended up tipping onto its side west of Sturgis. The trailer, hauling 37 cattle, opened and the livestock began running onto the interstate. Traffic was reduced to 1 lane while the cattle were rounded up and loaded onto other trailers. The semi-driver has serious, non-life-threatening injuries. Take a first look at the forecast now with meteorologist Brian Karstens in the Storm Center. Good morning, Brian.
All right. Good morning, Perry. Good morning, everybody. Our weather forecast for today. Temperatures, not bad. We'll take it seasonable. 30s in Sioux Falls. I do think that this northwest wind is a little brisk this morning, 20 to 35. The numbers will kind of go down later in the day. If you're in Watertown, Sisseton, we're kind of hitting those numbers a little bit earlier here in the day, too. And then the temperatures will likely fall off just a little bit as we conclude the afternoon. Otherwise, low to mid 40s in Rapid City. That's a quick look at the weather. We'll dive into Christmas week and see what that's going to bring coming up.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. We here at KELOLAND News said goodbye Friday to our news director, Beth Jensen. Many of you may remember her from her reporting days as Beth Fuller. She came to KELOLAND in 1996 and then became executive producer in 2001. In 2008, she stepped into the news director's role.
KELO is such a special place. It always has been because of the people. And you look out in the newsroom and you have like 50 kind, smart, curious people who are just working their tails off for the viewers and the online users. And that's the thing I'm most proud of, is the team we have here.
Beth's last day on the job was Friday, and we wish her all the very best in her retirement. Customers in KELOLAND are adding Powerball tickets to their Christmas shopping list this weekend. People lined up at the customer service counter at the Lewis at 57th in Minnesota Friday to buy their tickets, hoping to win the $1.5 billion jackpot. It's the 5th largest prize in the game's history.
Oh, you get the people who say, I never win, but it's fun to play. But you get a lot of people who are of the mindset that somebody's got to win, and it's time for South Dakota to win it big.
Many of the customers combined their Christmas shopping with Powerball ticket purchases. Others made a special trip just for the tickets. Lewis expects even bigger crowds today in the hours leading up to tonight's drawing. Holiday hours are in effect at Great Bear Ski Valley. Skiers and snowboarders can hit the slopes from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Tubing sessions go from 9 to 8:30 p.m. Enjoy skiing and snowboarding in the northern Black Hills. Terry Peak Ski Area is open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Lace up a pair of skates at Jacobson Plaza in downtown Sioux Falls. The new Ice Ribbon is open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday's hours are noon to 8. Admission is $5. Skate rentals are $3. Other outdoor skating options in Sioux Falls include Memorial and Tut Hill Parks. Get your pictures taken with Santa Claus at the Empire Mall. Santa's set is located in the center court. Walk-ups are welcome from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday's hours are noon to 6. Kids can also meet Santa and share their Christmas wish lists with him at the Washington Pavilion from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the third floor lobby. Shop for produce, flowers, baked goods, and artwork at the Winter Farmers Market. It's taking place twice monthly through April from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Mosaic Arts and Events in Sioux Falls. And Falls Park in Sioux Falls is aglow for the holidays with Winter Wonderland from 5 p.m. to midnight. Stop by the Falls Overlook Cafe to get pictures with the Siouxville Grinch from 6 to 8 tonight. Brian?
All right, turning to weather today. Well, we've got a lot of things to do. I know many of us are pretty busy. So will the weather cooperate? I think it will. The only downside is if you are still hoping for a white Christmas, something to change. No, I'm not seeing that yet. And, well, we'll leave the door open for something, but not really looking at that effect, if anything, on Christmas Day. Record high temperatures. We've been talking about this for quite a few days now, and the data this weekend is even more supportive of that. Let's dive into the details. Let's go hour by hour on this Saturday. We've got Sioux Falls here slipping basically a little bit this morning in the 20s and then rebounding back to the low 30s this afternoon. So I would overall call this seasonable weather. A little wind out of the northwest, but it's not terribly strong, and a lot of sun. That's actually some very good news today as well. The coldest weather will be found in Sisseton and the far northeast. Tonight will drop down probably about 10 to 15 degrees above zero east of the James Valley. A little bit milder in western South Dakota. Sunday, we're going to turn things around. We'll pick up a south wind. We should be able to hit at least 50 on the Nebraska-South Dakota border on Sunday afternoon. So a little cloud cover too comes in, but hey, pretty respectable here. And most of these little echoes you see on Futurecast, these little patches of green or pink, we're just fighting a lot of dry air. So I don't see a lot of opportunity for that to be a big deal here in the forecast. Monday, I really think we're going to turn up the thermostat in the southwest. We should see a fairly large batch of 60s again. Of course, anytime that happens, then the fire danger goes back up. Sioux Falls will melt snow, and we'll be back to the mid-40s. Tuesday might slip a little bit. That's another little subtlety to keep in mind in the forecast, but right now that doesn't look to be too significant. And then, yeah, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, that's really looking warm. We've got basically most of the midsection of the country is going to be flooded with this exceptionally mild air. Santa, yep, he's sweating a little bit, isn't he? And we're looking here Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. We already know it's going to be at least 20 to 30 degrees above average throughout much of the Dakotas into parts of Oklahoma and Texas. North Dakota will have it cooler. There's no question about that. But when you look at overall our trends, this is our Christmas Eve forecast. We're going 40s in Sioux Falls, 50s, probably Mitchell West, and then 60s in southwest South Dakota. And then on Christmas Day, that would be the warmest day for Sioux Falls. We'll hit around 50. Even some of the newest data we've been looking at today has been giving us some bonus points and trying to get us as warm as 55. By the way, if we hit 55 in Sioux Falls, that would beat the old record by 5 degrees. That's pretty impressive. So at any rate, that's what you need to know. If you're traveling, again, no mention of storms at all here. So that's really good news. I know many of you, after all the things we dealt with on Thanksgiving weekend and all of that, it was quite active. But this time around, it looks a lot quieter. Lows at night, too, pretty mild here. A lot of upper 20s and low 30s. The Aberdeen forecast, we're looking at 30s and 40s as we head into next week. So not as warm as Sioux Falls, but still beating the average high of 27. I think we'll outperform that a lot. And Pierre and Rapid City, we're back to the 50s on Monday. Again, Tuesday might slip a little bit, but that's in advance of that pretty impressive warmth on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It looks like we're a shoe-in for 60s in Rapid City. I'll be curious if some location in South Dakota tries to hit 70 sometime right around Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. On that note, that's our forecast. Check out much more online at KELOLAND.com.